Here's how I went from living in this little room to now living in a $4 million mansion in Portugal, making more than 200 grand in profit per month, driving my dream car, the Lamborghini Urus, at just 26 years old. This is my story. So my name is Samuel Ecom, I'm 26 years old, and 6 years ago I had 20 cents to my name. I grew up in Antwerp, a relatively big city in Belgium, together with my sister and my mom. No father figure in sight. I lived in a pretty nice neighborhood in Antwerp, but the apartment I lived in was falling apart since the day that we moved in there. Everything would break, my bedroom was 6 square meters. Can you even imagine? And the contrast between the neighborhood I was living in, the people who were living there, and how I was actually living was absolutely massive. Living in a single mom household often means that there's not a lot of money, and the same was true for our family. My mom was struggling really hard. She was working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, and that meant that I obviously also had no money at all. Now, not only did I have no money, not only did my mom barely have any money, we barely just survived, but having no father figure in a household for a boy is also pretty bad. And I know that now in hindsight, but at the time I was the biggest rebel you could imagine. I got kicked out of 2 schools just for doing the dumbest shit ever. I would never listen to teachers, I would never listen to anyone because I couldn't listen to an authority figure. And that's what happens if you don't grow up with a father. And not only did we have no money, no father figure, my mom was always in pretty bad health. She had a severe car accident when she was younger, and the repercussions of that never stopped. So there was a lot of stress in our family. And being in constant trouble at school, barely being able to pay the bills, and being in bad health was very taxing on my mom, of course. But I always hated studying, and I could never understand what the point of it was. I remember being like 10 years old at school and thinking, what is the point of this all? Every single subject that I'm studying I will never ever use in real life. Most 10-year-olds don't think like that at all. So I was already done with school mentally from 10 years old, but I still had 8 years left to go. So every day that I would go to school, I would completely hate it. I would be a rebel, I would be the class clown, I would do anything but do the things that they want you to do at school. And when I got home from school, all I would do is just play video games. I was so much on my computer that you could definitely call me a computer addict. I even started my first YouTube channel ever at the age of 11. I was uploading Minecraft videos, I was uploading Photoshop tutorials, and I even made my first money from that YouTube channel, which I then reinvested into video games so I could make more entertaining videos. And that was the first seed of ever making any money online. Now, most people who grow up the way I grew up would either end up in jail or with a really bad job for the rest of their lives. So this just goes to show you that your circumstances don't always define your destiny. I made it out of a pretty dire situation. There's worse situations to grow up in 100%, but remember that as long as you have a laptop and an internet connection, whatever chaos is going on around in your life, you can make it work, as long as you have some sort of focus and dedication. Now, as I said, I got kicked out of 2 schools. The first high school that I went to was full of immigrants, really bad people. Half of them are in jail right now, literally. And when I got kicked from that school, I went to a school which was full of Belgian children, which felt kind of refreshing, but all of these kids were relatively rich, especially compared to how I was living. And that was also very hard to deal with, because when all of my friends would go shopping after school, I maybe had a €2 penny in my pocket to buy 2 cigarettes in the night shop with. So I always felt like an outcast. At the age of 15, I was hanging around with the wrong crowd, and I started smoking weed like crazy, and we started drinking every single weekend. My whole friend group were kind of the same as me, outcasts with a pretty bad home situation who had no future vision for themselves in sight. So what did we resort to? Drugs and alcohol. Most of these friends right now have very tough physical jobs that they're working really hard for and earning almost nothing with. And that was also my path. And I actually did some of these jobs. I worked in the port of Antwerp as a slave. I remember I had to clean this massive warehouse with kitchen towel. I got fired after 1 week. But when I was at that job, I saw all these guys working as a slave for this company for like 20, 30 years already. All of them had broken backs, all of them were completely depressed, all of them repeated the same day after day just to make ends meet with their salary. That was a very pivotal moment for me because I knew that this could not be my future. This cannot happen to me. So at the age of 18, I realized that if I didn't do something, I am completely fucked. As I said in the beginning, my mom was always in pretty bad health. And one of the thoughts that occurred to me was that if she were to die right now, my sister and I would end up on the street because I had no no support, no backup plan, no money, nothing. And my sister was going the right direction. She was studying and she was for sure gonna have a good job, but only in 3 to 4 years from that point. But when I had that realization, I knew that I had to make money now, tomorrow. So what did I do? I literally typed on Google how to make money online fast. And that's how I ended up with dropshipping. The lesson here is one of the best places to be in. You're back against the wall, full of stress. Having no other option but to take action is the easiest way to get started. And that's exactly how I got started. But before I actually got started with dropshipping, I first tried studying. I actually went to college. Because I was so addicted to computers my whole life, I thought I should probably study computers. And that was before I had any idea about business and what was possible with online money making. My belief was the following: I like computers and the only way to make money in life is by studying. So what should I study? Computer science. I did that for about half a year, but I quickly realized that yes, I like computers, but being behind my computer and programming for the rest of my life for a measly $2,000 to $3,000 a month is not for me. I realized I am not autistic enough. So when I was 100% convinced that studying and getting a job was not gonna be for me, I started reading books. One of the books that I read that completely changed my belief on everything in life was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what I read in that book is that anyone can become rich. Before reading that book, my belief was that if you want to become rich, you either have to study for 10 years, which was no option anymore, or do business. But business to me seemed like you needed to be really good at math. Business was very boring. You need to be super smart. But reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad for the first time ever actually made me believe that anyone can become rich, anyone can do business. And that gave me the self-belief and the confidence that I could do it too. And at that point, I was convinced I am going to start dropshipping after Googling how to make money as fast as possible online. And I'm not ever going to stop until I am a millionaire. Now, I was going to start together with my girlfriend. And my girlfriend's parents really wanted her to study at least something. So what did we do? We started dropshipping, and at the same time we attended college again and we started studying business. Our belief was that this would only accelerate our success. So we started going to university, and after 2 weeks we realized that we were never going to learn how to become successful. The only thing we were learning there was how to be a slave and how to do a job under a large business like finance or operations. But business in university didn't teach me how to run my Facebook ads. It didn't teach me the hardships of starting a business yourself. It didn't teach anything about entrepreneurship. So what did me and my girlfriend decide to do? Drop the fuck out and start going all in into dropshipping. This goes to show you that the traditional path is not for everyone, and also that the traditional path very often is a complete scam. Most people start studying business because they want to have a business themselves and want to know how to do it properly. But you don't learn that when studying business. You learn how to be a cog in someone else's business. But most people realize this when they're already into studying that for 3 years. Way too late. Then you're already committed, you've wasted 3 years of your life, your parents want you to get a job, and then you get stuck in a job that you can never exit again. That is a complete scam, so you have to realize this as early as possible. But then the real work started. And that's exactly when I started facing the toughest challenges of my life. At this point, I was 20 years old, dropped out twice, still completely broke. My mom was still unhealthy and we were still all broke. I was sitting in an apartment that was completely falling apart, watching Shopify tutorials until 3 a.m. What we did have, however, was 2,000 euros in starting capital that I got from working a job. Those were all of my savings. So this had to work. There was no plan B, nobody to bail me out. It was all on me and my girlfriend. And the first few months were brutal. We were testing, we were building, we were working really hard. We were burning all of our money on advertisements that did not work at all. We were testing so many products. And everybody says, just find a winning product. But that's not easy when you're burning through limited money. Because every single product that you test, your net worth decreases with like 5%. But we kept going, because what else was I going to do? Go back to a job, go back to studying? Those options were already eliminated. In my head, I was going to succeed with dropshipping or end up on the streets. There was no in between. At this point, we were almost down to our last 500 euros and nothing was working. So we thought, let's buy a course. Up until that point, we were extremely skeptical of all these fucking gurus with the same promise. But there was one guy who we kind of trusted, and he actually dropped his first course for 400 euros, which would mean we could buy the course, study the strategy, and have 100 euros left to test. It's actually one of the biggest Dutch gurus right now. He's still selling courses, and you can actually guess in the comments who it is. But we bought the course, we watched it intensely, and in just 2 hours we finished the whole course, and it turned out that it was a complete scam. There was no information in there. He just showed us how you could set up a Shopify store and how he was able to scale his one lucky winner that he ever had. But the course was completely valueless and we were more demotivated than ever because we had 100 euros left. And this course was supposed to be our last resort, our golden ticket. My girlfriend even wanted to call it quits, which is completely understandable because she had a bright career in front of her by studying. I didn't. So I said, we will never quit. We have 100 euros left. Let's just spend it anyways. So we tested this product. It was a dog harness. And we actually ordered the product to our home and shot footage with it ourselves because I had this little dog back then, Oliver. Rest in peace. But we shot some ads with it ourselves with our phones. I had back then like a 150 euro Android phone. Made the most shitty video edit ever. Launched the ad on Facebook ads and prayed for the best. The next day we woke up with 5 sales. Profitable sales. We couldn't believe it. I was texting my girlfriend and we were so immensely happy. Finally we have some proof that this could actually work. And day by day we started scaling this. After a couple of weeks we were on 1k a day in revenue. A couple of weeks later 5k a day in revenue. All from this one single product, from this one single ad with my dog Oliver. And when you come from nothing, this is absolutely insane. Because up until that point we were already into dropshipping for like 6 or 8 months with literally 0 results, and with our last $100 after getting scammed by this fucking guru, we were finally making money, and not just some money, real money. More than anyone makes with their 9 to 5. And that's exactly when we knew dropshipping works, we are going to get fucking rich. And after being extremely disciplined and hammering on this dropshipping thing, 6 years later this is where we ended up. But we still faced a million problems along the way. But the hardest part was done. Proof of concept and making our first money. This gave us the belief that dropshipping works, and at that point we never looked back. The lesson here is that if you really want to become successful, burn all your ships and have no plan B. My girlfriend had a plan B. If I also had a plan B, we would have quit. And right now I would be fucking miserable, making 2 to 3 grand a month at most. My mom's health would have probably declined because of more financial stress, and my life would be wasted. But because I had no plan B and I told myself it's either dropshipping or living on the fucking streets, we were able to continue with $100 and make it work. But it was not as easy as just making our first 1k a day and then scaling from there. How did we go from 1k a day to now today making more than 30 grand a day every single day? It was not overnight, I can tell you that. This actually came from hiring a team and aggressively outsourcing. This is the actual turning point into big revenues. This is what separates the hobbyist dropshipper from the professional dropshipper. Because when we made our first money with dropshipping, we hit a ceiling for a couple years actually. And that was purely because we were too afraid to outsource. We thought we could do everything ourselves until the end of times. And that's purely because of fear of losing money. But to make the real big money with dropshipping, we had to start delegating, creating systems, creating SOPs, hiring people and managing people properly. And once we did that, which was only a couple years ago, our business completely exploded and we started from going 10, 20, 30k in profit per month to 100k in profit per month consistently. We actually were able to hit a 300,000 euro profit month once, and now we are sitting at around 1 to 200k in profit per month consistently. And for this money, I only work a maximum of 1 hour a day on my dropshipping business because I outsourced it to an extremely brilliant and hardworking team, and I have operators managing that team who are also really smart, really hardworking, and I now know how to delegate and how to leverage my time the best. And when I started putting less and less time into my dropshipping business while making more and more money from it, I realized I couldn't just now sit in the couch and watch TV all day. It was time to fill my time up with something else. And then I was thinking, what would be the best way to fill up my time that had the highest leverage for money making, the biggest impact, and was fun to do? That's exactly when I came up with the idea of helping others start dropshipping. So 2 years ago, I launched Ecom Liberty, which is my one-on-one coaching program, which is where I teach complete beginners who know nothing about dropshipping how to actually do the same thing that I am doing. And this is the most fulfilling business that I've ever done. Not only, of course, is it extremely profitable, but helping someone go from where I was 6 years ago to where I am today is insanely fulfilling. In this town where I live here in Portugal, already more than 10 successful clients have moved to, which means that more than 10 clients, first of all, became completely financially free but they were also able to emigrate to another country just from following some mentorship. That is of course absolutely insane, because if I had the sort of help 6 years ago that I am giving other people right now, I would have done what I have done in at least a third of the time. And that's exactly what the path of my most successful students is. But as I said, I still run my dropshipping business to this day, and this is still where 70% of my income comes from. And what am I doing with this income next? I am building a massive SaaS project, because I think it's time to test my real business skills. Dropshipping is not easy, but it is definitely one of the easiest business models out there. And I want to see if I have what it takes to make real massive money with a software company. Now, I've achieved a lot in dropshipping. I've achieved a lot in my coaching business. I've achieved a lot with materialism, my house, my car, my Lamborghini. But the biggest achievement to this date is being able to help my mom out financially. For the first 20 years when I was born, she suffered from massive stress and anxiety, because how are you going to raise 2 children completely on your own with barely any money, in combination with a bad health? So now that I am able to help out financially, she is completely stress-free. And that is what I want you guys to do for your family as well. And it's not only what I want you to do, but it is actually your obligation. And if you're not doing this, while you have the choice of doing it, you are fucking up massively, because your parents suffered for you. And when you become an adult, it's time to give back, because success is all about freedom. It is not about flexing. Yes, I live in Portugal, and dropshipping has given me massive amounts of freedom. I was able to move to Portugal, a sunny country, together with my fiance. There's lower taxes here, the quality of life is way better here. I live in a $4 million mega mansion. I drive my Urus. I'm gonna get a second Lambo probably in a couple months. I go out with friends a lot. I go to the most expensive restaurants, and whenever I want, I take a flight back to Belgium to visit my mom. And those were always the goals. But I'm not satisfied. I'm not even close to being satisfied. My goal is to reach $100 million net worth by the age of 30 and $1 billion by the age of 45. And I'm not even close, nowhere yet. But you should never stop dreaming and believing, because that's where it all started in the first place. So never accept society's limitations. Understand that you have to take ownership of your own life. No one is going to give you a handout. You're watching this video right now, which already means you're in the 1% of people who are interested into changing your life completely. Now join the 0.1% who actually makes the change. Because all it takes is starting with the right business model, like dropshipping, being consistent with it for at least 3 years, never giving up, and there will be no other way than you becoming rich from it. It's gonna be harder than you think, always. Everything worthwhile is 10 times harder than you expect it to be. Realize this, keep it in the back of your mind, and whenever you start to doubt yourself, or whenever you start to doubt the business model, remember why you started in the first place. And it doesn't have to be all about you. You can also make it about your family, your friends, or anyone around you, but you now have the obligation of making something out of your life. There's not a single excuse left, and to double down on that and make it as easy as possible for you to get started, I actually have a course, a dropshipping course. And the catch, it costs $0 forever. Yes, I built a 4-hour free course on my whole dropshipping strategy that teaches you exactly how I still to this day make more than 30K a day from it. So click the link below to get access now, use it, and hopefully I'll see you at the top.